wonderful to be back and here at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. Thank you all. Go Eagles! Oh, it's good to be everyone. And Mark Cuban, thank you for all that you are and being a part of it. So some of you may know, when I was 5 years old, we lived in Wisconsin. My parents taught at the University of Wisconsin in Madison for a time, and every time I come now, when I land, Governor Evers will greet me and he'll say, "Welcome home." So it is good to be back in Wisconsin. And this is a room full of leaders, and I thank you all for taking the time out of your busy lives to be here to have this conversation. I want to thank Mayor Reynolds. Thank you for the warm welcome and all you do. And La Crosse, let's re-elect someone who has spent her career fighting for the families of Wisconsin, your Senator Tammy Baldwin. We need her in Washington. We need her in Washington. Good. So, Election Day is in 19 days. 19 days. And if you all have a chair or a seat, please do sit for anyone who has a chair, okay? So listen, we are nearing the home stretch. And this is going to be a tight race until the very end. And we got this. I see you. And reality check, we are the underdog, okay? And that's why I'm here with you, and you are taking the time to do the hard work that is necessary. It's why I'm campaigning for every vote, because I want and intend to be a president for all Americans. And no matter their political party, where they live, or where they get their news, okay? And on that point, last night you may have seen I went on Fox News. And while I was doing that, Donald Trump was at a Univision town hall where a voter asked him about January 6th. Okay, so now we here know January 6th was a tragic day. It was a day of terrible violence. There were attacks on law enforcement. 140 law enforcement officers were injured. Some were killed. And what did Donald Trump say last night about January 6th? He called it a, quote, a day of love. But it points out something that everyone here knows. The American people are exhausted with his gaslighting. Exhausted with his gaslighting. Enough! We are ready to turn the page. Turn the page. We're done. And Wisconsin, and we're not going back, because this election, and we are not going back because we know that this election is about two very different visions for our nation. One that is focused on the past, and ours that is focused on the future. represented by everyone here, and especially the students who are here right now. Yeah, you guys. Yeah. It's about you guys. It really is. It really is. And we know that America is ready for a new way forward. We are ready for a new and optimistic generation of leadership. Which is why Democrats and independents and Republicans are supporting our campaign. In fact, just yesterday, I was with over 100 Republican leaders from across the country who joined me on the campaign trail. And as they said, it was about putting country before party. And some of them served in Donald Trump's previous administration, the people who know him best, okay? And I believe, and I think we all know, Americans want a president who works for all the American people. It's what we deserve. And that has been the story of my entire career. In my career, I've only ever had one client, the people. When I was a young courtroom prosecutor, I stood up for women and children against predators. As Attorney General of California, I took on the big banks, fought to deliver $20 billion for middle-class families who faced foreclosure. I stood up for veterans and students being scammed by for-profit colleges. I stood up for workers who are being cheated out of the wages they were due, stood up for seniors facing elder abuse, and I promise as president I will always fight for all the American people, and together, we can and we will build a future, a brighter future for our nation. That's why we're all here together. We love our country. Together, we will build in that future what I call an opportunity economy, which is where every American has an opportunity to own a home, to start a business, to build wealth. Under my plan, and I know this is a big deal for the young people here, we will bring down the cost of housing. Because there was a time that generations of Americans could count on the American dream, but for far too many these days, it is just out of reach. So we will deal with the housing supply, and I will commit to creating a $25,000 down payment assistance so you can, for the first-time home buyers, just get your foot in the door. We will help entrepreneurs and small businesses to begin and grow, because we know small businesses are part of America's backbone in terms of the strength of our economy. You know, the woman who helped raise my sister and me was a small business owner. I know, do we have small business owners who are here? Raise your hand. You are not only business leaders, you are civic leaders, you are community leaders, and you really are part of the backbone of America's economy, and we've got to invest in you and make your jobs easier. My plan will help expand Medicare to cover home health care for seniors. And this is personal for me. So part of you may know, some of you may know, that when my mother was sick, I took care of her. And for anybody who is taking care of an elder parent when they are in their time of need, The work, it includes trying to cook something that they feel like eating, right? Helping them put on a sweater, trying to make them just laugh from time to time, right? It's about dignity. It's about dignity. But for far too many people, including people in the sandwich generation who are raising young children and taking care of a parent, oh, it's so rough. And so my plan is this. It's to say, instead of how it currently is, which is in order for you to be able to get help to come in, you're going to have to pretty much get rid of all your savings to qualify for Medicaid. What I'm saying is, no, this is a matter of dignity, and it is a matter of your ability to participate in the workforce and be productive and have a quality of life. So we're going to change the system so Medicare will cover your ability to have home health care for your elder parent. Difference between the way we see our country and the world and the way my opponent sees it is we actually see real people and care about them and have a sense of understanding about how tough times can be, but how good times can be if we put the work into solving problems instead of trying to run on problems like Donald Trump. And so that's why we will also lower costs on everything from healthcare to groceries, including taking on corporate price gouging, which I've done before and I will do again. And we will give a middle-class tax cut to 100 million Americans, including $6,000 for young parents, parents who are just starting out during the first year of their child's life, knowing the vast majority of our parents have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not always the resources to do it. And so this is about helping folks out to be able to buy a car seat and a crib just during that most critical phase of their child's development. This is all about dignity. And this is about understanding. And so I share this to say I will always put the middle class and working families first. It's where I come from, and I will never forget where I come from. I will never forget where I come from. Now, Donald Trump has a different plan. I love you back, by the way. Thank you. Donald Trump has a different plan. So just Google Project 2025. Now we're at a place of higher learning, so I must say, I can't believe they put that thing in writing. I really can't. They put it in writing, they bound it, like they bound it and handed it out. So look, we read it, right? It's a detailed and dangerous blueprint for what he will do if he is elected president. You know, I said many times, you've heard me say, Donald Trump is an unserious man, and the consequences of him ever getting his foot back in the Oval Office are brutally serious. Brutally serious. So Donald Trump, right? That's why we're here together, and we're here because we know we got work to do still. Donald Trump will give billionaires and corporations massive tax cuts. He will cut Social Security and Medicare. He will get rid of the $35 cap on insulin for seniors. He will make it easier for companies to, check this out, he will make it easier for companies to deny overtime pay for workers, and will impose what I have named a Trump sales tax, because essentially he plans on putting a 20% tax, if not higher, on everyday basic necessities, which economists have estimated will cost the average American $4,000 more a year. And on top of all of this, Donald Trump intends to end the Affordable Care Act. And he has no plan to replace it. You guys watched the debate. He has, quote, concepts of a plan. Concepts. So here's the thing. Again, it's a serious issue, right? So he's going to threaten the health insurance coverage of 45 million people in America based on a concept. Taking us back to when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. You remember what that was? Well, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. And just like Wisconsin's state motto tells us, we will move forward. We will move forward. Because ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. For freedom. Like the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. Right. And again, we're not going to be gaslighted on this. We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street. Come on. So, but back to the matter at hand. We need a medic here. We need a medic. Right here, and then let's part the way so someone can come through and bring help. Okay? Okay. All right, we're good. So, on the subject of his intention and what he actually did to undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, let's understand what has happened since. It is now the case that in America, 1 in 3 women live in a state with a Trump abortion ban. Many of these bans have no exception even for rape or incest. And you react that way because we understand the idea that someone who calls themselves a leader would even make no exceptions for a survivor of a violation to their body, and to tell that survivor they have no right to make a decision about what happens to their body next, that's immoral. That's immoral. It's immoral. And I know we all agree, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do. priest. If she chooses, she will talk with her priest or her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but not the government telling her what to do. And it is my pledge to you that when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom nationwide, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Proudly sign it into law. Lots of work to do. So listen, so much is on the line in this election. You all know that. Again, that's why you're here. And this is not 2016 or 2020. The stakes are even higher because a few months ago, the United States Supreme Court told the former president he is effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. Now think about that. Think about that. Just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails, right? He who has vowed if reelected he will be a dictator on day one. He who has called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the United States of America. And let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again. Never again. Never again. And then consider the comments that he made just in the last few days, because he's got more. He said he will target and punish those who disagree with him or refuse to bend to his will. He calls these Americans the enemy within and says that he would use the American military to go after American citizens. Journalists whose stories he doesn't like. Nonpartisan election officials who refuse to cheat by finding a few extra votes for him. Judges who insist on following the law instead of following him. It is for reasons like these that General Mark Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Donald Trump's top general, has called Trump, and I quote, fascist to the core. And it is clear Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged and will stop at nothing to claim unchecked power for himself. He wants to send the military after American citizens. He wants to prevent women from making decisions about their own body. He wants to threaten fundamental freedoms and rights like the freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, to breathe clean air and drink clean water, and the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride. So much is on the line in this election. So much is on the line. And Wisconsin, when it comes down to it, look, we are all here together because we know what is at stake. We are all here together because we love our country. And I do believe it is the highest form of patriotism to then fight for the ideals of our country and fight, Cisco, you said it, to realize the promise of America. The promise of America. So, Election Day is in 19 days, and here in Wisconsin, early voting starts next Tuesday, October 22nd. So now is the time to make your plan to vote. And if you have received your ballot, in the mail, please do not wait. Fill it out and return it today. And remember that Wisconsin has same-day voter registration. Right? So if you are not registered to vote, you can register when you vote, and please do vote early or on Election Day. Because the election is, and bring an ID, because the election is here. And listen, I'm telling everybody what you already know and have been doing. We've got to energize, let's mobilize, let's organize. Let's continue in this process also to do what everyone here is doing. Let's build community, you know? Let's build coalitions. Let's remind each other that we are all in this together. Let's remind each other we have so much more in common than what separates us. And let's do all this knowing that our vote is our voice, and your voice is your power. Wisconsin, today I then ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity?